She banged on my door like she owned the place. "Open up! You're 3 months behind on HOA fees!" Her voice sliced through the quiet morning. I opened the door, still half awake, coffee in hand. "Ma'am," I said calmly, "I told you before, this land isn't even under the HOA." Karen stood there, lips tight, clipboard in hand, wearing that smug look people get when they think they're untouchable. "Don't play smart with me," she said, waving a stack of papers. "If you don't pay, I'll have your property locked by the end of the week." I wanted to laugh, but I didn't. Behind her, 2 men in orange vests were already walking toward my driveway, taking pictures of my truck, my dad's truck, the one he left me after serving 25 years in the Army. "Hey, you're trespassing!" I shouted. But Karen didn't even flinch. "It's HOA business," she said, tilting her chin like some queen giving orders. "We're documenting violations." I looked at her clipboard. The notice had no signatures, no official seal, just her name scribbled in blue ink. "This isn't legal," I said. She smiled. "It is now." That's when one of the men snapped a photo of my license plate and whispered something to her. Karen's grin widened. "Oh, this is gonna be fun. You'll regret ever buying here." I felt my blood boil, but I held it in. Arguing wouldn't work, not with someone like her. Instead, I stepped closer, looked her straight in the eye, and said, "You picked the wrong guy to mess with." She leaned forward, eyes full of arrogance. "We'll see about that." Then she did something I didn't expect. She pulled out her phone, started recording, and said, loudly, "This man is threatening me. Someone call the cops." My stomach dropped. Because in this country, once someone like her says that, you're already guilty before you can explain. And that was just the beginning.
Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. The cops glanced at my badge, their expressions shifting from suspicion to respect. One of them nodded slowly. "Sir, are you—" "Retired military," I said. "Served 20 years. This property was part of a veterans housing grant. I don't pay HOA fees because it's federally exempt." Karen blinked fast, her fake confidence crumbling. "That can't be true. No one told me." "That's because you're not supposed to be here," I cut in. "You've been collecting fake dues from families around here, haven't you?" The officer turned to her, suddenly serious. "Ma'am, I think we need to verify your HOA status before this goes any further." She tried to laugh it off. "Oh, come on. This is a misunderstanding. He's twisting things." But her voice shook. The second officer was already making a call, murmuring into his radio. I could see sweat forming on her forehead. Then, from behind the tow truck, another car rolled up. Sleek, black, tinted windows. Karen's face lit up again like she'd just seen her savior. "Finally," she said. "That's the HOA president. He'll explain everything." The man stepped out, wearing a sharp suit and an expensive watch. He shook Karen's hand, then looked at me with a smirk. "You must be the troublemaker everyone's been talking about." I crossed my arms. "Funny, I could say the same about you." He ignored the jab, turned to the officers and said smoothly, "Everything's fine here. Miss Parker was just enforcing community rules. This man is in violation of multiple—" "Save it," I interrupted. "You're not even listed in the county records as an HOA. You're running a scam." The man's jaw tightened, but he didn't back down. Big words for someone behind on fees. The first officer spoke up. "Sir, we've already confirmed the property's not part of your HOA jurisdiction. Unless you have legal proof, you're trespassing." For a moment, silence. Then Karen whispered, "Do something." The man smiled coldly and pulled out his phone. "I already am." Seconds later, 2 more cars pulled up. Black SUVs, no markings. My heart thudded. Karen smirked again. "You're done now." But what she didn't know was that I'd already activated the security cameras around my property, streaming everything live to my veterans group's private channel. And someone from that group was already calling the sheriff.
The SUVs stopped at the edge of my driveway, doors clicking open in unison. 3 men stepped out. Black jackets, earpieces, and that fake authority posture that screamed intimidation. Karen straightened up like a general watching her troops arrive. "These men are here to enforce HOA law," she declared loudly, as if volume could make it true. The officers exchanged a look. "HOA law," one of them muttered under his breath. "That's not even a thing." I didn't move. I just watched. Calm. Too calm, maybe. Because I'd seen this before. Back overseas when people tried to fake power with uniforms and attitude. One of the men approached me, hand on his belt like he expected me to back off. "Step away from the vehicle," he said. "It's being seized for unpaid community fines." I smirked. "You touch that truck and you'll be explaining it to federal property control." He hesitated, just enough for one of the cops to step in front of me. "Sir, we need to see your authorization," the officer said to the man. The guy handed over a laminated card. It looked official until you looked closer. The text was crooked. The logo? Printed, not embossed. The cop sighed. "This is fake." Karen's voice cracked. No, it's not. They're with HOA security." The officer glared at her. "There's no such thing, ma'am. This is impersonation of law enforcement." And that's when my phone buzzed. Sheriff Lang, a friend, a veteran. I put him on speaker. "Lang, you might want to hear this." "Already watching, buddy. We've got your live feed at the station. Deputies are en route. Keep them right where they are." Karen's face went pale. "Live feed? What are you talking about?" I pointed to the camera mounted on the corner of my roof, the little red light blinking. "You've been live for 10 minutes. The whole county's watching." One of the fake officers cursed under his breath and started backing toward the SUV. But before he could get in, the sound of real sirens echoed from down the road, loud, angry, and getting closer. Karen turned to the suited man, whispering, "Do something! They're coming!" He didn't answer. He just looked at me. Cold eyes, jaw tight. "You think you've won?" he said quietly. I took a slow sip of my now cold coffee and replied, "I don't think. I know." Because for the first time that morning, it wasn't just my land they were standing on. It was my battlefield. The sirens grew louder until the flashing lights filled the driveway. Real deputies stepped out, 5 of them, uniforms crisp, badges shining under the morning sun. Sheriff Lang himself was leading the way. Tall, steady, the kind of man whose presence alone made noise go quiet. Karen's fake confidence melted the second she saw him. "Sheriff, thank goodness you're here," she started, pointing at me like it was rehearsed. "He's the problem. He threatened me, refused to pay, and—" Lang raised a hand. "Stop talking, Miss Parker. We've been watching the live stream." Her jaw snapped shut. The suited man beside her shifted uncomfortably. The 3 fake security guys didn't move. They just stared at the ground. Lang turned to me with a half smile. "You okay, soldier?" "I'm better now," I said. He nodded and looked at the others. "All right, here's what's gonna happen. These men," he pointed at the fake officers, "are being detained for impersonating law enforcement. And Ms. Parker—" "You can't arrest me. I was just trying to—" He stepped closer, his tone sharp but calm. "You forged legal notices, trespassed on private property, and made a false police report. That's not trying, ma'am. That's breaking the law." Her face went white as paper. "This is a mistake. I was told this area was part of our HOA." Lang glanced at me, then back at her. "Told by who?" Everyone looked at the suited man. He stayed silent. Lang motioned to a deputy. "Get his ID." The deputy reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a wallet, and froze. Sheriff, you'll want to see this." Lang looked inside and frowned. "Well, look at that," he said quietly. "Private developer. Same company that's been buying up veteran lots across the county." I felt my chest tighten. So this was never about HOA fees. They were trying to push people out. He nodded. "Yeah, and it looks like Miss Parker here was helping them." Karen's knees almost gave out. "They promised me a cut," she whispered, voice shaking. "They said if I got homeowners to sell—"
Lang cut her off. "Save it for your statement." He motioned for the deputies to take them away. As they were led toward the cruisers, Karen looked back at me, eyes full of something between hate and regret. "You don't deserve that land. You don't deserve any of this." I stepped closer, keeping my voice steady. "You know what's funny, Karen? I fought for people like you to have the freedom to say that." Her glare faltered, the door shut behind her. Lang patted my shoulder. "You always find trouble, don't you?" I smiled. "Trouble finds me." But deep down, I knew it wasn't over yet. Because people like that, they never acted alone.
The cops showed up faster than I expected. 2 patrol cars, lights flashing, tires crunching over my gravel driveway. Karen was already in full performance mode, waving her arms, pointing at me like I was some criminal caught red-handed. "There he is! He threatened me when I asked for HOA payment," she cried. One of the officers, a younger guy with sharp eyes, looked from her to me. "Sir, we got a call about a possible assault. Can you tell us what happened?" I took a deep breath. "Nothing happened, officer. She barged onto my land, started yelling, and faked an HOA notice." Karen gasped. "He's lying. He owes us money. He's dangerous." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, do you have proof of these HOA claims?" Karen pulled out her papers, handing them over with a smirk. The officer flipped through them, his face slowly changing. "These forms don't have any official signatures," he said. "And this address—" He looked back at me. "This property isn't even listed under your HOA." Her smile froze. That's not possible. I manage this community." "No, you pretend to. You've been scaring people here for years, haven't you?" She shot me a glare that could burn steel. "You'll regret this. I know people." The cops exchanged looks. "Ma'am, we're gonna need you to calm down," one of them said. But she wasn't listening. She pointed at my truck, shouting, "That vehicle violates HOA parking rules. It should be towed immediately." I laughed, but it wasn't funny anymore, because the tow truck she called was already turning into my driveway. The cops looked confused, and I stepped forward. "Officer," I said, lowering my voice, "you might want to stop them before they make a big mistake." He frowned. "Why's that?" I stared at the approaching truck, then back at him. "Because that's a military vehicle, registered under the U.S. Army, and I still have clearance to prove it." Karen froze. The color drained from her face as I pulled out a small black badge from my pocket, the one I swore I'd never use again. "Let's just say I'm not exactly your average homeowner." And for the first time, she looked scared.